Welcome back to Asa Camps. Today we have another opportunity for you to get to know what is going on with the auto industry, guys. And today we have news and a podcast like every week, or at least we try to do it every week. My friend Mike Hayward is here.
What's up, Oz? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Mike. Man, this week has been super long.
Oh my gosh, this has been we've definitely earned this weekend. There's no doubt.
Oh, we need it. We need it. Like, it's time to, like, when you go to work every Monday, it's like you feel like a Groundhog Day, but it's not like Groundhog Day. It's that it's always Monday. Like Tuesday's
Yes.
Monday, Wednesday's Monday. Every day looks like Monday, man.
Yes, absolutely. And this week it's just been. I feel like we've had maybe 3 weeks of Mondays crammed into this 1 week, but it's all right. It's the weekend, and here we are talking about cars.
Yes,
Doesn't get any
sir.
better.
Yes, sir. There's nothing better to talk about. Maybe food. Maybe I don't know. Maybe, right? But it's nothing better to talk about cars than anything
Oh, I
else.
love cars. Yep.
So today, Mike, we have the Ford Bronco and Jeep Wrangler war. I know this article is not 2021, but that's the hottest subject right now in the auto industry, guys. The Bronco is coming and the Jeep is waiting for it. And now, who's better to talk about this but Mike Herworth? He is a former Jeep Wrangler owner, and he owned one of the nicest, cool-looking Jeep Wranglers I've ever seen. So, Mike, what do you have to say about this? What are you expecting?
Oh my gosh. I'm excited for this for one. I think that this is going to push Jeep. I think Jeep has been a little lazy with some of their design stuff lately. I think but they haven't been pushed by anybody. Don't get me wrong. They've been putting out great products, but I think this Bronco has some exciting details about it, and I think it's going to push Jeep a little bit. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely loved my Wrangler. I kind of kick myself most days for getting rid of it, but it just wasn't going to be practical over here. And so, I left it in the States, but man, what a competition this is going to be. I think when you look at numbers, there's not a whole lot of difference through most numbers between these two vehicles. I mean, you're talking, when you look at size, you're talking a couple of inches. When you look at the breakover angles for off-road stuff, you're talking tenths of degrees in some senses. They've got a lot of very similar dimensions. I think Ford has upped the game a little bit. It's going to push Jeep, especially on some of the interior quality parts.
Yeah.
Technology for sure. Jeep has been very slow to bring much technology into the Wrangler.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm excited. I think it's going to be really good. I like the looks of the Bronco. I like what Ford has done with it, with kind of the retro look, though I do got to say Jeep has nailed the retro before retro was cool. But I think the Bronco is going to be a good contender on paper. Now, we don't know what that's going to look like when it actually gets out into the real world. I think overall, at least for the first couple of years of the Bronco, I think I'm going to give the edge to the Wrangler.
That's a fair statement right there.
But I do think that there are definitely some things to be looking forward to with the Bronco. And I don't know if this is too soon to jump into this, but I think there's a little bit of an edge goes to Ford in terms of off-road capability packages available right from the dealer from the start.
Okay.
Even with the Rubicon level, which is its own kind of top of Jeep in terms of their off-road ability. Really, you don't get the off-road tires that most people want.
Yeah.
You get some of the nicer things in terms of the sway bar disconnect and the lockable front and rear. I just don't know that the Jeep has exactly what most people want to seriously off-road it, where that Sasquatch package on the Bronco that can be had across most of their line, as I guess it's like $2,600 or $2,700 package is what they're looking at for that. And that gives you 35-inch tires right from the start. that ups that ground clearance a little bit over the Jeep. I think it just adds a little bit more of the visual that most people want from those vehicles.
Yep.
So I think from a cost standpoint, I think the Bronco's got a little bit of an advantage because you can get that right from the factory and not have to worry about any issues with warranty stuff or any problems like that. But man, I'm excited. I could talk about this all day long. I love this. Off-roading is in my heart. I love being outside. I love being in the dirt. I love being on the trails. So I could go on and on about these two.
And I can let you talk about it because you are a huge fan of it. And let me tell you this: one thing that I'm apprehensive about the Bronco and the actual Jeep Wrangler is I never been a fan of the Pentastar 3.6 of Jeep, and there's nothing wrong with it. I never been a fan of it. I don't know for some reason.
My feelings.
Oh no, for some reason I believe that it's a weak engine. I believe that. Not because it's something wrong with it, but like right now, 2021, a V6 3.6 with 285 horsepower right now, you should have more than that. Like right now with a 2.3.
I agree.
2.3 is a 30% smaller with right about the same horsepower, 15 horsepower is below. And the torque is way up there. It's like 50 pounds.
But why is that torque? Let's talk about that. Why is that torque higher?
Because of the
turbo.
But
Ford, there you go.
That's true.
So, I know a lot of people disagree with me, and I've had a chance to be behind the wheel of a 2021 Jeep with the turbo engine, and I will say it's pretty impressive. I like how it drives. It doesn't. You're not dealing with all of the turbo lag that people tend to think of with turbos. And because originally I was a little apprehensive about that in an off-road vehicle, because where I want that power is I want it down low. Yeah. So to me, a supercharger, if you're going to do something to an engine for off-road, a supercharger makes a little bit more sense to me than a turbo, just because you get that grunt right from the start. Okay. But I will say that Jeep has done a really good job with this. So I'm assuming that Ford is going to have done a good job with this as well. I can't imagine that they're going to put a motor in that's not going to be good for that kind of a situation. I still like naturally aspirated engines over turbos, true. Just in terms of longevity. I've seen too many turbo bearings go. I've seen too many people have issues with them, especially off-roading. If you're if you're climbing up through the boulders and you're sitting at all of these weird angles and they don't have enough oil pressure that's getting to all of these parts, you starve a bearing just a little bit in a situation that you're running a lot of pressure, you're going to lose a turbo.
Yeah, that's
I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I'm not. That's just a concern that I would have looking at this. I will agree with you. I think the 3.6 was a little down on power. I think it could have had a little bit more. But again, I think Jeep was a little lazy. But if we step back a model from the JK that I had that had the 3.6, the previous model had the 3.8 liter, which was only 200 horsepower, which was absolutely ridiculous for that Jeep. I mean, it was like three old people trying to push a Jeep uphill. I mean, it just was not good. So the 3.6 was a huge improvement of, you jump 85 horsepower in the same vehicle, it's going to feel like a rocket ship.
Oh no, that's definitely a point right there. So what about the exterior? I've been passing the pictures right here while you're like making comments about the weak engine of the Jeep Wrangler. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Right?
Well, it is compared to the 6.4 liter V8 that they're putting in the new Jeep Wrangler 392. But we're not even going to talk about that right now. 470 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque. But we're not going to talk about the fact that the Bronco can't even come close to that, even with the 2.7 liter. But go ahead.
I disappear in the picture. So yeah, I know. I believe that eventually Bronco is going to come up with something heavy like that, a heavy hitter. But yeah, but if we go with the basic models, one or the other, I don't know if the V6 or the 4-cylinder.
That wasn't fair. And to be fair to the Bronco, the Warthog is being talked about, or whatever they're going to end up calling it, that's going to likely come out with at least the motor, the Turbo 4 or the Turbo 6, I'm sorry, that's in the Raptor.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Okay. So let's go now over the exterior. And I was right before the video we started recording, we were talking about the exterior of the Bronco. And I know they tried to go over the retro design with the contemporary looks, or like bringing the 1970s and 60s Bronco to the actual 2020s, right? So my thing is, yes, they did a good job in mostly everything. And I will say mostly everything. Like, I don't like the cartoonish look sometimes of it.
Yep.
I think
I
like
agree.
the Jeep Wrangler has a subtle design, and I'm flipping back and forth versus between one or the other. If you see the Jeep Wrangler 4 doors or 5 doors wagon compared to the 5 door wagon Bronco, the Wrangler looks better, especially with the new design. They have not like dramatically redesigned the Wrangler. They just have brought the Wrangler to the standards, to 2021 standards. It looks more luxurious. It looks more like robust. It has more like presence on the road. And the Bronco, yeah, nothing wrong with that. But right now, I don't know. Like you said before, it looks like a what? Like a Hot Wheels?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the front end, especially of the Bronco. I don't think it looks good. I like the round headlights. I like that take from the original Bronco.
Yeah.
I don't like the little line that cuts into the middle of the headlight, and I'm not a big fan of the grill. I don't know. I think it's a little too Hot Wheelish.
Yeah, it does. It does look like different. Let me look back here. I bounce back. I don't know. I do like the 2 door Bronco a lot. And that one I will give it. If you compare, let's have the two models, like 2 models Broncos, 2 models
Hmm.
Wrangler, 2 doors, 4 doors, either one of them, right? The 2 doors Bronco look a lot better than the 4 doors. That's to me, in my opinion, especially with
Okay, yeah,
that,
I can see that.
especially with that stubby look. Like it looks like
Hmm.
very stubby. Like if you
Yes.
have an off roader, you want it to look like with presence. The other one, the 5 doors, eh, I don't know. I do not know. Look, I have it right here on the screen one more time. Without the top on, it looks like it's still missing something. Like it doesn't look like it's finished. When you look at the Jeep, on the other hand, it looks like it's meant to be used without a roof.
Yes. Yeah, I don't like on the Bronco. I don't like I'm going to say roll cage for lack of a better term right now, but um, I don't like how that looks on the Bronco without the top compared to what a Jeep looks like without a top.
Yeah.
I don't. It looks unfinished to me.
Yes. Like that. It,
The
it
Jeep
looks like
is
it.
a little more finished.
It looks like they need to put some, like, if you look right here on the rear frame of the truck and the rear door, it looks like they had to use like a cover or something to make it look more appealing. And even though half of the people are not going to be picking on this kind of stuff that we are, but we are just going war hand in hand between one or the other. Roof off, roof on, design, engine, transmission, everything, you name it. And we're going by the basic model or the mid range, because we're talking about the Sasquatch.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
also can talk about the Sahara. We also can talk about the Rubicon. We also can talk about the basic Bronco.
Oh, we could talk for hours just
Yeah,
about
yeah,
all of the little differences between them, but I don't know. The one thing that I have to say about the top of the Bronco that I think is going to be a concern for people that want the top off but want to have a little bit of sunshade. Okay, if you can see a picture of the top of the Bronco looking down without the top, you're going to notice that there is no cross member from the windshield all the way to the back. There's just a big open air space above the interior.
yep. And
What I
that,
don't like about that is there's no spot where the Jeep has a bar that goes across kind of right behind the driver and passengers' heads.
yeah, yeah, I can
What
see it
that
right there.
does is when you put a tonneau cover on the top of that to block out the sun. So say you want in South Carolina, for example, where we were living,
Yeah,
that sun is hot. Or if you live in Vegas or you live in Phoenix or you live in some place that gets a lot of sun, a lot of people like the open airness, but they want that cover on there to protect them from the sun. Without having that crossbar on there, if you put a tonneau cover on that Ford Bronco, it's just going to flap in the wind and it's going to be loud as crap.
yeah. It's
I
empty.
really
It's
think
a
that's going
hollow
to be an
part.
issue.
Yeah, it's a
It
hollow
is.
part right there.
At night, driving around with that, it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
You don't really lose anything in the Jeep because the bar that's the way that it's situated, you're not seeing it from either driver or passenger. It's not blocking anything really.
Yeah.
But I think just having that structural member across the top there helps in some situations that the Bronco doesn't have.
Yeah,
It's speculation, but
and body rigidity, and we have not been able to see one of them being tested yet. So
yes.
it is something that we like you said, we're playing the speculation game, and that's why you come here to us at camps, because you want the drama part of it. Like, this is how you guys start the argument and start talking about it, right? It's not, nothing is set in stone in the Bronco. Yes, they have give all the details coming out, and they're producing it right now, but nobody have seen it in the action other than the corporation ones and so on. So we need the real test drives from YouTubers like us, or YouTubers like people that are not paid to review it, because a lot of people are going to be paid to review that Bronco, and it's going to be probably, that's how they're going to do it. That's basically how they're going to do it. They're going to pay people to get it done.
One thing I do think the Bronco that Ford did right with that is because just like the Jeep, it's designed to have the doors come off. It's designed to have the top come off. It's designed to give you that open air feeling. And if you're truly off-roading, having the ability to not have a door and to be able to see where you're putting your tires, to see what's on the trail, that's hugely important in terms of safety and ability to get up some trails. So I love that it's designed for that. But where Ford was smart is Ford attached the mirrors to the body of the Bronco.
Yep.
Jeep attached it to the doors.
Yeah, so you don't have the mirrors right after that.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I think this is where it comes back to what I talked about earlier with the Sasquatch package, where Jeep, you're buying a great vehicle. But if you want to take the doors off and you live in a state that requires that you have mirrors, now you're spending money to add mirrors. If you want 35-inch tires, now you're spending the money to add the 35-inch tires. If you want some of these extra niceties that Bronco's now coming with that Sasquatch package, it gives you the 35-inch tires. It gives you the locking differential front and rear. It gives you the front sway bar disconnect that you can only get on the Rubicon version of the Wrangler. So I think there's some pluses that Bronco has done, and I think they've clearly backward engineered the Jeep. I mean, they took it into their facilities and they took it apart and they looked at things and they knew exactly what they were doing with some of the things that they did. And I think some of those things are going to be what pushes the weekend warrior guy.
Yeah.
The guy that, drives it back and forth to work every day, but then on the weekend runs out to the desert and runs up and down hills. Those are the guys that are going to be enticed by the Bronco. I think your guys that are true rock callers, they're still going to stick with the Wrangler just because it's got a solid front axle, where the Bronco has the independent front. So I mean, I don't know. I think it's all going to come down to what people are wanting from a vehicle. I think that this is going to push Jeep, though. I think you're going to see in the next model of Jeep, I think some of those options that are on the Rubicon may trickle down to some of the other models. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. So let's talk about the actual interior of it. Like, I was looking at some pictures while you were making the comments about the Broncos, possible beat up of the Jeep Wrangler. Now, I see it. The way you're talking about it is like the Bronco is going to be the one to go for. I guess so. I don't know.
Well, we'll see when we're all done, but I think it has some advantages. Go ahead. The interior is another thing that we can talk about.
Yeah, the interior, basically, when we look at the Bronco interior, we haven't seen it like in live in the flesh, right? Right now, if you're looking at the pictures, it looks like incomplete. And I don't know if it's just because of the pictures on this particular model right here. It looks like a combination between a Ford Escape from 1999 and 2005 to something that is supposed to be new today. And that's something that it detracts me from Ford. And here comes the Ford lovers, and they're going to start dropping comments down here saying that, you don't know what you're talking about. Ford quality interiors are great. No. One thing that I have always had against Ford is the interior. And we were talking about it the other day. when we were talking about the Ford Raptor. And for some reason, the plastics that they use at Ford are like low quality, and nobody talks about it. Everybody let that pass and go under the carpet. And when they talk about Korean brands and they talk about other Japanese brands, and they're saying, "Oh, look, that scratchy plastic." They don't ever say that about Ford,
No,
and that's a
that's
problem.
true.
So if you, and then on the other hand, to me, Ram or FCA, now well known as Stellantis, Ram, Jeep, Dodge, they have always tried their best to have the better interior. However, in this new interior, no, let's not talk about the past. Let's talk about moving forward, right? This new Jeep Wrangler interior, and I did review one a couple of years ago, and it hasn't changed much. It's gorgeous. It's very beautiful, and now it has the digital cluster in the middle, and the actual analog clocks on both sides in between the and both sides of the actual digital cluster. Plus, kind of like a touch from Ram, and Ram has always had good infotainment system and good interior, good quality material. So side by side, and the pictures that I have here, I know that you cannot see it right now, Mike, but you can imagine. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, I agree with some of what you said, and I disagree with others. I think from a total utilitarian point of view, I think the Wrangler's perfect. I when I'm out and I'm off roading, I don't mind if dirt's getting inside. I don't care if it starts to sprinkle and you get some water in there. That doesn't bother me. I like the way that Jeep has kept it fairly simple. I think that maybe a little too simple in some cases. I think when I look at the Bronco, and I know some people don't agree with me on this, I like that big infotainment screen. The fact that I can get a 12-inch screen in that Bronco and only an 8-inch screen in the Wrangler, that's massive for 2021.
Okay.
But it's going to depend on how much is buried in the infotainment system for Bronco as to how useful that is. In the Jeep, you don't need it for much. There are some things that you access through that for Jeep, and I think the Jeep has, and like you said, all of Ram, Dodge, Jeep, the Fiat, the whole group. I like their infotainment centers, systems. I think they've done a really good job, but I think it's a little dated. I think the Bronco, the center stack of the Bronco, I like. I prefer the analog gauges in the Jeep to digital gauges. I'm not a big fan of the digital gauges. I think it's more for show. I don't like the big empty space between the vents on the passenger side of the Bronco. I think that's just wasted space. I don't like it. I prefer the Jeep.
I would say
Would I buy the Bronco because of the interior over the Jeep? No.
no.
It's not that big of a difference for me.
It shouldn't be it shouldn't be even a question in that one. I'm looking at it and it's just like it's gorgeous. The interior is gorgeous, at least from my side.
I agree. I like the Jeep. I think it's a little dated again, but overall, I really don't have too many complaints about the interior of the Jeep,
Let's go
or at least for the dash.
let's go over the 2 doors and 4 doors. Right now, I got the pictures of the Rubicon 2 doors and the Bronco 2 doors. Then I'm all about Team Bronco right there. It looks the cartoonish look on this particular model looks great. The Jeep looks more like fine tuned, or I'm so used to see it. That's probably it. Am I just used to see that like flawless design from Jeep with the 2 doors? Because since I was,
so. I mean, it's that is Jeep. I mean, if you can look at this Wrangler in a 2-door, and you go back and look at a CJ7 from
that's what I was about to say.
years and years ago.
Yes.
You can see the lineage of that vehicle. You can see that is still the same vehicle.
Yes. Literally.
And there's a much clearer link between the CJ7 and the current JL and the JK of Jeep than there is, I think, between the current Bronco and the original Bronco. I can see some design aspects that have come along, but I think it's kind of like what the retro thing, what Dodge did with the Challenger and the Charger.
Yep.
I think they took the whole retro thing and made it bigger than life. And I think Ford has kind of done that with this Bronco, where Jeep hasn't. They've designed it to look like a Jeep without overemphasizing some of those bits and pieces of it to make it bigger than it really is.
And that's basically what it is. Like that Jeep is, to me, like is in design wins every day. Like that's the classic Jeep to me. When you think about Jeep were not made 4 doors till recent times. Yes. If you want a 4-door Jeep, you will buy the Cherokee or the Grand Cherokee, right? But when you think about Jeep, that's what I think. That's the picture that comes up to me. And it's just timeless. It's timeless.
I 100% agree.
It's just like, and the design in the 2-door, Jeep wins. Bronco looks cartoonish, and it makes it cool. But Jeep, man, and imagine a Rubicon. You know that now it comes with the 4xe, and yes. It's the Hemi engine. The V8 is coming also. Imagine that 2 doors with the V8. It's gonna be like a sin to drive. That'll be awesome.
They would have to gear that so low to make that really usable. Growing up, I had a good friend that had an old Willys Jeep that weighed basically nothing. It was early 50s, I think.
Yeah.
Weighed basically nothing. Put a small block V8 in the front of it and big old massive tires. The way the thing was geared, it would climb up the side of a house. I mean, it could go anywhere. But downhill with a tailwind with nobody else in it, floored, that thing went about 52 miles an hour. So I worry about having all that power and truly having it be usable power. Now, there's going to be people that disagree. There are situations that much horsepower is going to be useful, but most of the time it's not needed.
Yeah,
I would take one absolutely. I would absolutely consider buying one for sure. I mean, I love horsepower and I think that's a great motor, but it's not needed. It's fun. It sounds great,
but it will be timeless. That's the other thing. V8 that is Jeep, man. It's Jeep. So I have a picture here of the Bronco interior, the seats and the roof off, and the seats are gorgeous. Let me show you back here. I will say seats, it looks like more contemporary than the Jeep. The Jeep looks luxurious. That's what I will say. And the Bronco is a modern application to this kind of equipment or vehicle.
Yeah.
Let me look at a picture. I was flipping pictures here, and I passed a picture that shows the Bronco Sport. Here you go. The Bronco Sport, the Bronco 2 doors, and the 5 doors Bronco, like the big mama, like I call it, the big papa, or whatever you guys want to name it. So the one thing that I'm highly disappointed, and I know we're not talking about the little Bronco right now, but why did they call this a Bronco? Because they should have called it the Ford Escape. It looks like a Ford Escape from 2004 or 5.
Absolutely.
It's like the other day we were talking about it through text messages, right?
Yes.
That there is one here in the dealership around work, that it has been there, sitting there for like 3 months, and nobody looks at it. And that was supposed to be the Bronco for the masses. Yes. And not even with the name is selling. Because I think the biggest problem right now with that one is that it needs to have the 2.3 engine turbo on that particular model, and not the 1.5. Like, guys, like 1.5, when I was coming up, a 1.5 engine was like embarrassment.
Yes.
And I know that
it still is.
It still is kind of like my Scion IQ, the little bitty thing that I drive sometimes around the little tiny streets of Italy, has a 1.3, and it's a 99 horsepower.
Yeah.
So a 1.5 is 0.02 cc's, bigger than my little Scion IQ. And I cannot see a 1.5, no matter how much turbo power it has or whatever. It does not make sense for an off-roader. It's just an embarrassment. I'm sorry. And we're not talking about that one, but I just saw it and I was like, here goes. Here it goes.
Yeah, no, I agree. They should have put another name on that. It should have been the Escape or should have been something else. I think what they were trying to do is I think they were trying to grab the market, the people that all they were seeing was Bronco name
Yeah.
and snatching it up because of that. I think they made a mistake,
I-
and I don't think it's gonna be a big seller for them in terms of what they might have been hoping. I think eventually it may be.
Uh, and they're pushing it through. Like I see so much commercials of so many commercials about it, and so many YouTubers like getting paid to put videos out there of the Ford Bronco Sport. And I think, look, Jeep didn't do that. Jeep didn't water down the Wrangler name with a mini Wrangler that is front wheel drive base. They just call it the Compass. That was it.
Exactly.
That was it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They would not damage the name.
Yeah, no, I would have no issues with Ford releasing that with any other name.
Yeah.
I think that they were trying to take advantage of the Bronco name and trying to get some sales that way.
Yeah,
because we all know that's not going to be an off-road vehicle.
No,
it's not designed for it.
So
that's a grocery getter.
So the last thing that we will talk about, we're in the minute 31, is the video of the Bronco removing the doors and removing the roof and everything else in between, right?
Yes.
And, I love the fact that we can have modular vehicles right now in 2021. We can do whatever we want with them, and they're gorgeous and so on, right? But a guy like me, like I'm picky as you can even name it, like picky, period, especially with my vehicles. I don't like to see anything on my vehicle that doesn't look from factory. I know we're talking about modularity, that we can switch things and move things and put it around and put them back and forth, right? But if you're going to give me the option to remove panels, remove roofs, remove fenders, remove everything, don't come and tell me, oh, your car is going to look gorgeous when you remove your fenders and every little single bolt that you're pulling out, that it feels and it looks like it was not meant to be removed, gets all scratched up and scratches the paint. If you're a multi-million dollars company and you're coming with an option to the customers, you have to think about the customers who are going to go off-roading and they're going to scratch the crap out of the vehicle. Those are there, and most of the Bronco owners are going to go for that. But there also, you have to think about the customers like me. Like if I ever own a Bronco, which I think I would never buy one, personally, I would rather buy the Jeep Wrangler over the Bronco, and that's my opinion. I would not like to have, like every single time I remove my fenders, every single bolt that is going to be scratched and around, like that circle. Like, have you ever had a car that you had to fix a fender or a fender bender, and then you see those bolts are all scratched up? Mm-hmm. That's an eyesore, and I don't care. It's an eyesore. Yeah.
Here's my issue with the fenders and that stuff coming off and on. I think for less than half of 1% of people, I think will utilize that for some either off-road use where they want to put some plastic fenders on it maybe so that if it gets scratched up, it's not a big deal. But I think for most people, it's a gimmick.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the bigger issue for me with that, and we're not talking the roof or the doors, I'm just talking fenders and the grill, is you take those off and on, and what's going to happen is you're going to create opportunity for rattles. So, 6-8 months, a year down the road with this vehicle, you take those off and on, which there's going to be some dude that's be like, oh, look at me, I'm driving around with no fenders on my car, and I'm going to do that every weekend because he thinks it's cool. Somebody's going to do that, but then he's going to be that same guy that all over the Ford forums is going to be complaining about the fact that, man, Ford sucks. It rattles every time I drive anywhere.
Yep.
There's going to, it's just not going to be good. It really isn't.
No.
I love the doors. I love the roof. That's a cool thing. The fenders, no.
Check this out. I'm going to put the audio on this particular video right now in this particular moment. I know that you don't have the opportunity to see the streaming right now, right? But we are at the point where the gentleman is removing the fenders and the over fender, the plastic part of it.
Yes.
Listen to the noise that this thing is going to make right now. Let me just make sure that I have an audio. No, it's not.
Sounds like you broke something, but you didn't. That's how it's meant.
What?
Yeah.
What? Are you telling me that? Let's listen to that one more time. One more time. It's something that you're supposed to remove yourself. Listen to this. Listen to this.
Quarter turn latches here that I'm going to
turn
a quarter turn
All right.
counterclockwise.
Enlighten me.
After which point we just give a little.
Ugh.
Sounds like you broke something, but you didn't.
Does it?
Meant to do.
It does. But then how many times can you do that before those plastic clips really do break?
They're gonna break. That's out of the question.
Absolutely.
Look.
Yeah, no,
now he's trying to remove the rear one. Look, hold on.
2, 3, 4.
Yeah, keep talking.
5 quarter turns. And off she comes. Just like
It just give me the cringes, man. It's like
Next, we're going to take off the fenders, and that procedure starts by removing the.
There's no reason for that. There really isn't. I mean, I guess if you're worried about somebody opening a door into your car and just being able to go down and grab a new fender, maybe, but I don't know. To me, there's more issues that's going to create than problems it's going to solve.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. And another thing, Mike, and I don't know if you watch this video, I watched it like 4 times now.
Yeah.
When you put those fenders back, what happened to fenders? Gaps? Yeah. Lines are not going to be lined up the right way they used to be. It's just, I'm not buying on that one. Like, I'm not bought on that one. It's like you said, it's a gimmick. Look at that, like the body, like they're pulling rubbers and plastic and stuff. Like if you're a little bit careless on this kind of process, it's over. It's getting over. You're gonna ruin your vehicle, and that's not what you buy. Like this vehicle is not gonna be a $20,000 vehicle. We're talking about over $40,000 vehicle. This is
easy. No
way I'm gonna mess around with that kind of stuff. And so I'm not buying a Bronco for that.
No. Now here's going to be one of my big pet peeves that I had with my Jeep. And I know if anybody out there listening that is a Jeep fan, they know this is an issue. The fact that my Jeep had been around for multiple generations, several years of that same model, that JK. I had it towards the end of the run of the JK, and every time it rained, my roof still leaked. You take it into the dealer, and what do they say? Well, it's a Jeep. It leaks.
It's supposed to do that.
Exactly. And so every time it rained, I would have water dripping down the speaker grill on the driver's side because it leaked. I had the seals replaced multiple times. I found it frustrating in the fact that I spent good money on a vehicle that the top was designed to come off. It was made to do that. And the fact that they couldn't figure out how to not have it be an issue for so many people was frustrating to me.
And for
now,
years.
Did it cause any damage? No. Was it really that big of an issue? No, it was a frustration more. I know so many people that there's a plug in the footwell of each of those. You punch the plug out and it drains the water, so you don't have big issues. A lot of people took the carpets out, whatever. I just don't think that should be the fix for something that should not be an issue multiple years into a vehicle run. Yep. So if Ford can make these vehicles not leak like my Jeep did, then that's going to be a big thing for those people that are kind of on the bubble. I will say, watching them take this top off, they copied Jeep. I mean, it's almost exactly the same process, 100%. And now I don't know that there's 500 ways that you could design that, but to have it be so close to the Jeep, I just hope they don't leak. But even given that, I'd still rather have the Bronco. Or I'm sorry, excuse me, I misspoke. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at a picture of the Bronco and I said that. I can't believe
that happens. That happens, my friend.
I'm going to cut my lips off. I would still rather have the Wrangler.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up with this, Mike. And do you have the question of the day? Are you ready?
I am.
All right. The question of the day is...
All right. Here we go, Oz. And I kind of already answered it. If money wasn't an object, okay, and you were looking for a vehicle to do everything that you needed it to do.
Yes, sir.
Off-road, go to work, all of that. which one of these do you think would be the one that you would go with?
I said like I would like to buy that Wrangler like 5 times.
I know
The
you did.
Wrangler.
I know you did.
It is the Wrangler, my friend.
Not much of a. So what would it take then? Here, let me change that then.
Okay.
What would it take for you to buy the Bronco over the Wrangler?
They have to name it Wrangler. Because it's like a Wrangler, but with the Bronco and Ford badges.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's like I'm biased. I'm very biased right now. I drove the Jeep Wrangler 2018 and 2019, and I fell in love with it. I think that it was a gorgeous vehicle. I think that it is a legendary name, and it has been on sale uninterruptedly. It's like forever. Bronco disappeared for the longest time. They came out with a new platform, and I'm not sold in it. I'm not sold. I will have to see it right in front of me. Like it's like when we were talking before, like before the video, the Defender and the new Defender and the old Defender.
Yeah.
You look at
totally different vehicles.
You look at the old Defender, you see that's the Defender. You look at the new Defender, you're like, what is that? Is that the Discovery, the new Discovery?
Yeah.
So, what do you think? What would you do?
I would go with the Wrangler. I really would. I like some of the options. Like I love that Sasquatch package that Ford is offering on multiple tiers of the Bronco. I think that's spectacular. I wish that Jeep would offer something similar, and I'm hoping that maybe that pushes Jeep to look in that direction.
Yep.
I would still take the Wrangler.
All right.
It's tried and true. It's not the fanciest vehicle on the road, but I will take the issues with Jeep and be happy.
All right. So this is it for tonight, guys. But hey, you guys have to wait for this because it's worth it to wait a couple extra days to get this video out there. And I know, there's a couple of times that I've been frustrated. I will tell you this, Mike. Let's just open the can of worms. We've been a little bit frustrated on the view counts on this kind of video. So you better start liking this video, sharing it, and subscribing. I don't know, because we're working our butts off on this, guys, and we enjoy this. We want you guys to enjoy this process.
Let us know what you think.
Yes.
If you don't like something, tell us. If you want to see something else, tell us. Put it down there.
If you don't like it, smash the dislike button. It gives us engagement no matter what. And guys, and if we're right or we're wrong, just put it out there too. So I will see you guys soon. And Mike, say goodbye to your people, man.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe.
All right. I'll see you guys soon.